Okay, so yes, we are talking about the Chase Sapphire Reserve today. I've been traveling a lot recently. Over the past week, I've been in Croatia and now France, and I've finally had the time to sit down and think about this card and go over all of the new benefits. And in this video, it's going to be primarily focused on the high $795 annual fee versus all of the new statement credits you can get with holding this card. And so, yes, starting out, annual fee $795. That's the highest that is out there for luxury premium travel cards. I mean, the Amex Platinum is only $695, even though that may potentially see a refresh this year and go higher than this new Sapphire Reserve. And then $195 for that authorized user fee. So if you do want an authorized user, if I got this card, I wouldn't get one, but I mean, very expensive, especially when you look at the Sapphire Preferred with that $95 annual fee right now. Of course, there are potentially some changes coming to that card pretty soon. Maybe looking at $150 annual fee, maybe higher, but as of right now, it's just $95. And so now that we know the annual fee, let's compare it to the credits. And I really would love to at least get $850 or $900 worth of possible value out of this card, because I would want to get more than the hefty fee that I was paying. So let's go over some of these credits. You can start off by seeing that there's over $1,200 in annual travel value. All right, so there's that $300 annual travel credit that has been on this card forever. I mean, it's really nice that they kept this around when they did the whole refresh. And yeah, I would definitely value this just right at $300. As Chase says, it's the most flexible travel credit. I mean, any travel purchase at all, you just use this card and then get the statement credit for it. I really love that about the Sapphire Reserve. But then we have this $500 credit for stays with the Edit. Basically, it's just luxury hotels on the Chase Travel booking platform, and this credit is split up into $250 in the first 6 months of the year, $250 in the second 6 months. It's really not going to cover that much depending on which hotel you book. Sometimes I've seen screenshots of hotels going for over $1,000 per night on there. And just to put it simply, I would value this at $0. I would love to potentially get value out of this if I had the Sapphire Reserve, but it's a little bit complicated, so we'll say 0, and the total is sitting at $300 worth of value. Now, I'm not going to be going over all this really in depth. It'll take me a while to explain each credit. I talk more in detail about certain cards that I love in my newsletter. You can sign up with the link in my description to get access to my free newsletter when I send out really cool deals about credit cards, new welcome offers, or some things I just really like in the points and miles space. But for right now, let's move on with the next credit for the Sapphire Reserve. We have, it's not actually a credit, it's IHG Rewards Platinum Elite status. And I do stay at IHG's pretty often. I mean, this is a channel all about travel points, but I don't actually like that you can get Platinum Elite status with this card. Like, I don't care about it because I have an IHG card from Chase, and so I already get Platinum Elite status with that. So that is worth $0 for me. Then we have Reserve Travel Designers. This one, I'll just say $0. I don't need somebody else customizing an itinerary for me. It might be useful to some people, but not to me. Then we have Priority Pass Select Membership. This one also gives you access to Chase Sapphire lounges, and you can use this with up to 2 guests. The 2 guests are really nice, especially when you compare that to the Capital One Venture X, a competitor to the Sapphire Reserve, because they're going to do away with guest access to Priority Pass lounges. So something I did consider when thinking if I should apply or not with the Reserve, but I don't really need that. It's not like super competitive, and so I already have that with the Venture X, and also with the Amex Platinum, so I'm just going to put $0 for that. Then we have global entry, and you can get a statement credit of $120 every 4 years. I have this on so many other credit cards that I don't need it with this one, so $0 for that one. Then we have the annual lifestyle value of over $1,500 for all of these credits. Let's start going through them. $300 dining credit. This one is going to be with Sapphire Reserve exclusive tables. So basically just really high-end restaurants in certain cities around the US, and I believe also Canada and Mexico right now. It's not the most amazing credit because you can't just spend it at any restaurant, but Jenny and I went through the approved list in our city, and we actually found some restaurants where some of the meals were only going to be like $30 to $50, and so we actually could go on an expensive date night every once in a while and use up this credit. But I wouldn't necessarily value it anywhere close to $300 because we could just go eat at a different restaurant. I'll put a $50 valuation on that right now. But I mean, I guess I would probably use it because you get $150 in the first half of the year, $150 in the second half of the year. Then we have this Apple TV and Apple Music subscriptions. I don't need another subscription service to watch TV. I already have too many of those. And then we have the Apple Music, which I think I actually would get pretty good value out of just because we pay $13 a month for Spotify. I think we could potentially cancel that and then just use free Apple Music. So I guess I'll just value it at $13 a month times 12. So I believe that's $156. So actually pretty nice there. Then we have the Dash Pass membership, which basically just gives you $0 delivery fees on DoorDash. This is of no use to me unless it's attached to the other benefit, this DoorDash promos, where you can get up to $25 each month to spend on DoorDash. It's really weird. $5 monthly for restaurants, two $10 promos each month for groceries, whatever. That's so that's just weird how it's split up like that, but I get it. They want you to spend more money. I don't have like a great calculation for this other than like I know that you're going to pay service fees and tips and whatnot, and so I actually put a valuation of $120 out of the full $300 because I actually would save money if I'm just buying like one or two items from there, but that's what I said, and I think that's about right. Then we have the StubHub credits, $300, but you get it as two statement credits, $150 in the first half of the year, $150 in the second half. I kind of may use that. I haven't used StubHub in a really long time, but I guess I could go to some sporting event and go through StubHub that way. And I don't know, I said like $50 worth of value. It's hard to tell. I'm definitely not even close to the full $300. Then we have $10 of monthly Lyft credits. And I'm somebody that actually uses rideshare 1 to 2 times a month when I'm going to the airport and coming back. I already have a $15 a month credit with my Amex Platinum through Uber, and so I'm usually using that, but I guess occasionally I would use Lyft. I said I would use 4 of these throughout the year, so $40 value. Then we have some Peloton credits. I've never used a Peloton. I'll just put 0 and keep it really simple that way. And then when you add up every single credit that I may use, I got a valuation of $816. I promise I did not try to get just barely over $795 because of that annual fee. I just put what my estimated values were for each one, and that's what it came out to. That's still not good enough for me. Again, at the beginning of the video, I wanted at least $850 worth of value out of this card, and the value's not there for me. It's too much of spending money in areas that I wouldn't ordinarily spend. When I took away certain things like the dining credit at fancy restaurants, these DoorDash promos that I don't really need, and then the StubHub credit, well then it's actually worth way less than $816. And so this whole thing that Chase is doing with adding a bunch of weird different statement credits. Like, it's just making it harder for the average person to get good value from their cards. And I guess that's probably what they want. They can advertise a huge dollar amount and say you're getting this much value, but then when it comes to actually trying to get value, it's like, okay, well, like, why would I spend my money this way? I don't need this. And I think that's why the Sapphire Preferred is definitely more valuable for most people, right? You still want one of those annual fee cards from the Sapphire side to get access to Chase's transfer partners, where you can use things like Hyatt or Air Canada to get way better value than you would by either cashing out your points or using them in the Chase travel portal, which, like, we can talk about that too, where you can get like a points boost now up to 2 cents per point in the travel portal, but that's only with like really expensive bookings and whatnot. And then there's also like different weird welcome offer restrictions, and we didn't even talk about the welcome offer, where I really would have loved if this card offered a better one up front. It's like 100,000 points right now, and then there's a $500 use it or lose it coupon that comes when you spend the required amount. And I really thought they would come out with at least 125,000 points or 150,000 points, because remember, points are more valuable than Chase travel credit because you can use those points for those transfer partners. So to the everyday average person that wants to travel a lot with credit card points, I'd say the Sapphire Preferred makes way more sense. There's even a limited time offer right now, 75,000 points, up from the usual 60,000. So you could save so much money on the annual fee and not have to worry about all these different ways to try to get your value back. So of course I do have links in my description for the Sapphire cards if you want them. I feel like I kind of just said that maybe you shouldn't go for them, but maybe the Sapphire Preferred with the limited time offer. I also have a link in my description for the newsletter I talked about earlier in the video. And once you earn these Chase points, you're going to want to redeem them. And if you do want to look at the top 10 transfer partners that I personally ranked, I have a video for that right there. So thank you so much for watching this one. I'll see you in the next one.